Emma Collins and Lisa Morgan seemed inseparable, best friends who shared everything, from dreams to secrets. But behind their smiles and laughter, a dark and dangerous obsession was growing, one that would shatter lives and leave a community searching for answers. What happened when the friend Emma trusted most became the person she feared the most? Emma Collins and Lisa Morgan had a friendship that seemed unbreakable. They met during their first year of college, two young women drawn together by similar tastes in music, art, and a shared sense of humor. Their bond grew quickly, and soon they were inseparable. Friends envied their closeness, calling them like sisters. Emma often said Lisa was the one person she could always count on, the one who understood her better than anyone else. After graduation, they both settled in the same quiet suburban neighborhood. Emma worked as a graphic designer at a small but respected agency, while Lisa worked in marketing for a local firm. Their lives were busy but balanced, and they made time for each other despite their growing responsibilities. Weekends often found them at the same cafe, planning future trips or sharing their dreams. They celebrated birthdays, holidays, and personal milestones together, creating a picture of perfect friendship. Neighbors knew them as friendly and kind. There was never a sign of conflict between them, no rumors or complaints. Their smiles were genuine, their laughter infectious. At community events, they stood side by side, always supporting each other. On the surface, their relationship looked like a model friendship, one built on trust and mutual respect. Yet, as often happens, appearances can be deceiving. Beneath the warmth of their companionship, something darker was quietly growing. Emma had no reason to suspect Lisa could ever harm her. After all, Lisa had been by her side through difficult times, encouraging Emma during a tough breakup, helping her through the stress of a demanding job, and even celebrating her promotion. Emma trusted Lisa more than anyone else in her life. But the subtle changes started with small things that Emma barely noticed. Lisa became more possessive, often asking detailed questions about Emma's plans and who she was spending time with. She sometimes showed up unexpectedly, claiming to check in or make sure everything was okay. At first, Emma thought Lisa was just being caring, but the visits grew more frequent and invasive. Despite these early warning signs, Emma's trust in Lisa was deep-rooted. She believed that Lisa had her best interests at heart. They shared secrets and dreams, and Emma confided in Lisa about her hopes for the future. Lisa listened attentively, always offering advice and support. No one else was as invested in Emma's life, or so Emma believed. Their social media posts reflected a happy friendship, photos of dinners, coffee dates, and laughter. But behind the screens, Lisa was increasingly obsessed. She tracked Emma's movements, monitored her messages, and even created fake profiles to stay close in ways Emma never imagined. These actions, hidden from Emma's view, were the first cracks in what seemed like a perfect friendship. In the days before Emma's disappearance, Lisa's behavior grew more erratic. Friends noticed her withdrawing from others, focusing all her attention on Emma. Still, Emma had no reason to fear the friend she trusted most. No one did. The neighborhood remained peaceful, unaware of the storm brewing behind closed doors. To everyone else, Emma and Lisa were still those two inseparable friends who seemed to have it all. But the truth was far more complicated and far more dangerous than anyone could have guessed. One chilly November evening, Emma Collins vanished without a trace. It was a night like any other, quiet and calm in the suburban neighborhood where she lived. Emma's apartment was neat and orderly, her keys left on the kitchen counter, her phone charging by the bed. Nothing seemed out of place. But when Emma didn't show up for work the next morning and missed multiple calls from friends, concern began to grow. Her co-workers were the first to notice something was wrong. Emma had always been reliable, never missing a day without notice. When she failed to answer messages and calls, they alerted her roommate, who returned home to find Emma gone. There was no sign of a struggle or forced entry anywhere in the apartment. Emma's purse, wallet, and all personal belongings were still there. It was as if she had stepped out for a moment and never returned. The police were called in immediately and an investigation began. Officers scoured the apartment for clues, searching for anything that might explain the disappearance. But the scene was puzzling. No evidence of a break-in, no signs of a fight, no note or message left behind. It was as if Emma had simply vanished into thin air. Neighbors were questioned, and they all painted the same picture of Emma, a quiet, friendly woman who kept to herself mostly, but was always polite and kind. No one had seen anything suspicious the night she disappeared. The last confirmed sighting of Emma was by her best friend, Lisa Morgan. Lisa told police they had spoken that evening, and Emma had seemed fine, making plans to meet the next day, but Emma never showed up. Lisa's behavior in the days following Emma's disappearance raised eyebrows. She appeared nervous, avoiding contact with others and cancelling social plans. When police interviewed her, she seemed cooperative but oddly detached. Friends of Emma began to whisper that Lisa's stories didn't quite add up. Some recalled that Lisa had been unusually focused on Emma in recent weeks, almost obsessively so. The investigation soon revealed more troubling details. Police found that Lisa had accessed Emma's bank accounts several times in the days before the disappearance, withdrawing money and transferring funds. This discovery added a new layer of suspicion. Why would Lisa have control over Emma's finances without her knowledge? The picture of a trusted friend began to crumble. Authorities also examined surveillance footage from nearby streets and stores, hoping for any sign of Emma or clues to her whereabouts. Footage showed Lisa leaving Emma's apartment building late at night, alone. After that, Emma was nowhere to be seen. This raised even more questions about what had happened behind closed doors. As the days passed, media attention grew, turning the quiet disappearance into a community crisis. Posters with Emma's smiling face appeared on street corners, and volunteers joined search parties, combing parks, rivers, and woods nearby. The hope of finding Emma alive was growing thin, but no new leads surfaced. The tension mounted when investigators discovered Emma's car abandoned several miles from her home. It was parked in a remote area with the engine off, but the doors were unlocked, and Emma's belongings were inside, her purse, phone, and even a jacket. The discovery deepened the mystery. If Emma had been taken, why leave her car behind? Was she trying to escape, or was something else at play? Despite extensive searching and questioning, Emma's fate remained unknown. The police were now focusing their investigation on Lisa, the friend Emma trusted most. But even with growing suspicion, no one could imagine the shocking truth that was about to be uncovered. One that would change everything people thought they knew about friendship, trust, and betrayal. As the investigation into Emma Collins's disappearance deepened, police uncovered disturbing secrets that shattered the image of the perfect friendship between Emma and Lisa Morgan. What had once seemed like a close, trusting relationship now revealed layers of obsession, manipulation, and hidden resentment. Forensic experts recovered data from Lisa's phone and computer that had initially been deleted or hidden. Among the files were messages that painted a troubling picture. Lisa had been tracking Emma's every move for months, using not just social media, but private messages and GPS locations. She monitored who Emma talked to, where she went, and even copied details from Emma's online profiles to create a fake persona that could get closer to Emma's other friends and acquaintances. This digital stalking was far more invasive than anyone had imagined. Police also discovered that Lisa had been managing Emma's finances without her knowledge. Emma's bank records showed repeated withdrawals and transfers, some large sums disappearing from Emma's accounts and ending up in Lisa's. These transactions were carefully disguised, hidden in small amounts to avoid suspicion. This financial control pointed to a deeper motive than simple friendship. The investigation unearthed a deleted journal on Lisa's computer. In it, she expressed feelings of envy and bitterness toward Emma. Lisa wrote about feeling overshadowed by Emma's success and happiness. The journal entries revealed a dangerous mix of admiration and hatred. Lisa envied Emma's life, but also resented her for the attention and love Emma received from others. It became clear that Lisa's actions were driven by jealousy that had grown into something far darker. A breakthrough came when police found a handwritten journal that belonged to Emma herself. It had been hidden inside her abandoned car, discovered days after her disappearance. Emma's journal was chilling. It revealed her growing fear of Lisa and her plans to end the friendship. Emma had noticed the strange behaviors, the controlling tendencies, and the invasive questions. She wrote about feeling trapped and worried for her safety, fearing that Lisa might do something harmful. The entries made clear that Emma was planning to cut ties and protect herself. She detailed moments when Lisa showed up unannounced, how Lisa monitored her phone and emails, and how Emma increasingly felt isolated. The journal ended abruptly, leaving unanswered questions about what happened next. Adding to the evidence was forensic analysis from Emma's apartment. DNA samples and traces of a struggle suggested a confrontation had taken place. Items were knocked over, and there were signs that Emma had resisted something or someone. The DNA matched Lisa's profile, confirming she had been at the scene during the disappearance. The combination of digital stalking, financial manipulation, the journals, and forensic evidence painted a disturbing picture. Lisa's obsession with Emma had escalated into control, betrayal, and violence, and the friend Emma trusted most was not just spying on her, she was actively harming her. The police moved quickly to arrest Lisa. She was charged with kidnapping, fraud, and assault. But even as the charges were announced, Emma's whereabouts remained unknown. The mystery of where Emma had gone and how she survived still haunted the investigation. This chapter of the story revealed how trust could be weaponized, how friendship could mask dangerous secrets. It was a shocking reminder that sometimes the greatest threat is not a stranger lurking in the shadows, but the person standing closest to you. The truth was darker and more complex than anyone had expected, setting the stage for the final, unbelievable twists yet to come. The arrest of Lisa Morgan sent shockwaves through the community. Everyone who had once admired their friendship struggled to reconcile the friendly neighbor with the woman now accused of crimes so serious they seemed unimaginable. As the investigation unfolded, a darker truth about Lisa's actions began to emerge, a truth rooted in jealousy, control, and betrayal. After Lisa's arrest, police intensified their search for Emma, desperate to find her alive. But what investigators uncovered painted a grim picture of what had happened behind closed doors. The evidence suggested that Lisa's obsession had escalated far beyond stalking and financial theft. She had confined Emma somewhere isolated, cutting her off from the world. During interrogation, Lisa's demeanor was cold and evasive. She offered little explanation for Emma's disappearance, refusing to reveal where she had taken her. It became clear she was hiding something, and the longer Emma remained missing, the more the community feared the worst. The forensic evidence was crucial. Police found traces of blood and signs of a struggle at a remote property owned by Lisa's family, an old cabin deep in the woods, several hours from the city. This cabin was not on any maps and had been rarely used. When authorities searched it, they found Emma, alive but weak, disoriented, and terrified. Emma's rescue was a turning point. She was emaciated and exhausted, having survived for weeks, with limited food and water. Her hands bore marks from restraints, and she had bruises from her captivity. Despite everything, Emma was alive, and her testimony became vital in piecing together what had happened. Emma explained that Lisa had held her captive in that cabin, away from everyone else. Lisa's jealousy had spiraled into obsession, and she was desperate to keep Emma under her control. Emma's attempts to escape had been met with violence and threats. Lisa had planned everything carefully, isolating Emma to prevent her from seeking help. What was most shocking was Lisa's motivation. It wasn't just about jealousy over Emma's life. It was about control and possession. Lisa saw Emma not as a friend, but as something to own, someone whose freedom she could deny to satisfy her own twisted need for power. The trial that followed exposed the full extent of Lisa's crimes. Prosecutors presented overwhelming evidence of kidnapping, fraud, assault, and emotional abuse. Witnesses testified about Lisa's erratic behavior leading up to Emma's disappearance, and experts described the psychological damage Emma had suffered. The community watched in disbelief as the case unfolded, struggling to understand how a friendship so deeply trusted could turn so dark. The courtroom became a place of reckoning, not just for Lisa, but for everyone who had believed in the image of a perfect friendship. In the end, Lisa was convicted on multiple charges and sentenced to many years in prison. But for Emma, the scars of betrayal would last far longer. Her survival was a testament to her strength, but the trauma of being betrayed by the friend she trusted most would take years to heal. This chapter of the story revealed a harsh truth. Betrayal can come from the closest places, and trust can be shattered in the most painful ways. Emma's rescue brought relief, but also a deep sadness, reminding us all how fragile trust can be, and how important it is to recognize the warning signs before it's too late. Emma's rescue from the remote cabin marked the beginning of a difficult and painful journey toward recovery. Though she was finally free from captivity, the physical and emotional wounds left by her ordeal were deep and complicated. Surrounded by family, friends, and professionals, Emma began the slow process of rebuilding her life, a life that had been shattered by the very person she had trusted most. In the days following her rescue, Emma's story became a symbol of hope and survival in the community. Volunteers and neighbors who had searched tirelessly were relieved to learn she was alive. Yet beneath the relief was a collective shock, a feeling of betrayal so profound that many found it hard to believe what Lisa Morgan had done. The woman, who once seemed a loyal friend, was now exposed as a dangerous captor. Emma received medical care for her physical injuries, malnutrition, dehydration, bruises, and psychological trauma. The marks on her wrists told a silent story of restraint, and the bruises on her body spoke of desperate attempts to resist. But the emotional wounds ran deeper than any physical scars. Trust had been shattered, and Emma struggled to understand how someone so close could become so harmful. Therapists and counselors helped Emma confront the trauma, guiding her through the complexities of betrayal and abuse. Her healing was not linear. Some days were filled with hope and strength, while others were weighed down by fear, anger, and sadness. Emma's courage inspired many, but she also reminded everyone that healing takes time and patience. Lisa's trial became a focal point in the community and media. Prosecutors laid out the disturbing details of her crimes, her obsession, manipulation, and the cruelty of holding Emma captive. Witnesses testified about Lisa's erratic behavior before the disappearance, and experts explained the psychological damage inflicted by such betrayal. The courtroom was a place where justice was sought, but also a space where painful memories resurfaced. Throughout the trial, Emma remained determined to tell her story, not only to seek justice but to warn others about the dangers hidden behind false friendships. Her bravery in facing Lisa and the past helped many victims of similar abuse find their voice. Emma spoke of the importance of listening to warning signs, trusting one's instincts, and never underestimating the risks that can come from those we hold close. When Lisa was finally convicted, the community breathed a collective sigh of relief. The sentence was long, reflecting the severity of her crimes. But even with the verdict, the impact of the ordeal lingered. For Emma, freedom meant more than just physical release. It meant reclaiming her sense of safety and learning to trust again. The story of Emma and Lisa became a powerful lesson about the fragility of trust and the darkness that can hide behind a smile. It reminded everyone that betrayal can come from the people we least expect, and that friendship, while precious, should never blind us to warning signs. Emma's survival was a testament to resilience and strength. Though the scars of her past remained, she moved forward with a renewed sense of purpose, to live fully, to heal, and to help others avoid the same fate. The friend she trusted most had betrayed her, but Emma's courage and determination proved that trust, once broken, could one day be rebuilt. This final chapter closes with a lasting message. Trust is precious, but vigilance is necessary. Behind every friendship lies a complex story, and sometimes the most important friendship is the one we have with ourselves.